Hello, friends. How are you? Welcome back. This could change your life. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of ultra-rare and valuable U.S. coins, where iconic design, hidden stories, and shocking histories turn ordinary-looking coins into life-changing treasures. In this video, we explore the top 3 most valuable Roosevelt One Dime silver coins that many people overlook every day. These historic dimes honor Franklin D. Roosevelt and were produced by the United States Mint of the United States of America. We'll uncover shocking coin histories, rare P, D, and S mint mark varieties, different color shades and metal compositions, error coins in dirty condition finds that collectors and investors desperately want. Some of these seemingly ordinary Roosevelt dimes, even worn or discolored ones, can be worth thousands or even millions of dollars today. So before you spend that old dime in your pocket, watch carefully, because you might already be holding a fortune in your hands. First up, coin 1. First up, the first coin on our list looks ordinary at first glance, but its story is anything but ordinary. This is a Roosevelt One Dime, a small silver-toned coin that carries enormous history, mystery, and potential value. Minted in the United States of America, this dime represents far more than 10 cents. It represents a moment in American history, a turning point in coin production, and a coin that collectors quietly search for every single day. The Roosevelt dime was created to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, a president remembered for strength during hardship, and that same theme of hidden strength lives inside this coin. Now let's talk about the year that changes everything, 1990. The 1990 D. Roosevelt One Dime, struck at the Denver Mint, carries a small but powerful D mint mark, a letter that can mean the difference between a common coin and a highly desirable collector's piece. While millions of dimes were produced that year, only a very small number left the mint with unusual characteristics, subtle details that most people would never notice. These differences are what make certain 1990 D dimes stand out in the world of serious coin collectors and long-term investors. What makes this coin truly fascinating is that value does not always come from beauty. In fact, some of the most expensive Roosevelt dimes ever discovered were found in dirty, worn, or heavily circulated condition. Coins that look scratched, dark, or discolored are often ignored or spent without a second thought. But collectors understand something most people don't. Those marks can tell a story. They can signal unusual striking pressure, metal flow anomalies, or rare surface characteristics that occurred during minting. A coin that looks damaged to one person can look incredibly valuable to the right expert. Another detail that adds mystery to the 1990 D. Roosevelt dime is its color shading. Some examples show unusual tones, darker silver gray, soft golden hues, or even patchy color changes across the surface. These shades aren't just cosmetic. They often develop over decades due to storage conditions, metal composition reactions, or exposure to air and moisture. In rare cases, these color patterns make the coin visually unique, and uniqueness is everything in the collector market. When no two coins look the same, demand rises, and so does value. The history behind the Roosevelt Dime series adds even more weight to this coin. Introduced after Roosevelt's death, the dime became a symbol of resilience and recovery. By 1990, the design was familiar, but the production process was evolving. Machines were aging, dies were reused longer, and quality control variations created coins that were slightly different from one another. These small differences, barely visible to the untrained eye, are what collectors search for today. It's not about perfection. It's about rarity hidden in plain sight. Here's where the story becomes shocking. Some 1990 D. Roosevelt dimes have surfaced that were overlooked for years, sitting in jars, drawers, or old collections. When finally examined closely, they turned out to be extraordinary finds. Coins once treated as pocket change suddenly became centerpieces of collections. While not every 1990 D dime is worth a fortune, the right one, with the right combination of mint mark clarity, surface texture, strike detail, and aging, can reach values that surprise even experienced collectors. This is why experts always warn, never rush to sell an old coin at a low price. Once a rare dime leaves your hands without proper valuation, it's gone forever. The coin market rewards patience and knowledge. A single dime, held for years and studied carefully, can become a powerful asset. Many collectors didn't become wealthy overnight. They became wealthy by recognizing value before the rest of the world caught on. The 1990 Roosevelt Dime reminds us that treasure doesn't always shine. Sometimes it hides behind dirt, wear, and time. Sometimes it's sitting quietly in your pocket, waiting for someone to look closer. This coin is proof that history, value, and opportunity can exist in the smallest form. 10 cents in size, but potentially life-changing in impact. So before you spend that old dime, before you toss aside or trade it for nothing, remember this story. Because coins like the 1990 Roosevelt One Dime have the power to change fortunes, not through luck, but through awareness. And this is only the beginning. Stay with me, because coin number 2 gets even more unbelievable. Next up, the second coin on our list proves that true value often hides where nobody thinks to look. This is a Roosevelt One Dime, minted in 1994, a year most people would never suspect to be special. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than everyday pocket change in the United States of America, small, thin, and easily ignored. But history has a strange way of hiding power inside ordinary objects, and this dime is a perfect example of that truth. The Roosevelt dime carries the image of Franklin D. Roosevelt, a leader remembered for resilience, and somehow that same quiet strength lives on inside this coin. What separates this coin from millions of others is the P Mint mark, identified as a product of the Philadelphia Mint. In 1994, the Mint was producing enormous quantities of coins, running machines for long hours under heavy demand. When speed increases, perfection often decreases, and that's where opportunity is born. Among the sea of standard dimes, a small number were struck with unusual characteristics, details so subtle that they slipped past inspectors and went straight into circulation. Those few coins are the ones collectors quietly dream of finding. One of the most fascinating things about the 1994 P. Roosevelt dime is how often it appears in dirty or worn condition. These coins were spent, traded, dropped, and forgotten for years. Their surfaces darkened, their shine faded, and their edges softened with time. To most people, this wear signals worthlessness. But to collectors, it can be a sign that the coin lived a long life outside protective storage, increasing the chance that it carries unique surface textures, striking irregularities, or metal flow patterns that only reveal themselves after decades of circulation. Another layer of mystery comes from the color shades seen on certain examples. Some 1994 P dimes develop deep gray tones, others show soft champagne-like hues, and a few display uneven shading that almost looks intentional. These color changes are not random decorations. They're the result of metal reacting with its environment over time. In the world of coin collecting, distinctive toning can turn an overlooked coin into a standout piece. When a dime looks different from every other dime of the same year, its desirability rises sharply. The history surrounding this coin adds even more intrigue. By the mid-1990s, the Roosevelt dime design had become familiar, almost invisible to the public. That familiarity is exactly why rare examples survived unnoticed. Nobody was setting aside 1994 dimes, thinking they might be valuable one day. They were spent without hesitation. And that is what creates scarcity today. Not low production numbers, but low survival of special examples. Coins that were never meant to be saved often become the hardest to find in meaningful condition. Stories continue to circulate among collectors about 1994. P dimes discovered in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten rolls. Coins that sat untouched for years suddenly gained attention after careful examination. While not every coin from this year carries extreme value, the right combination of mint mark clarity, strike quality, surface character, and aging can push a single dime far beyond its face value. This is why experts always say the most dangerous thing you can do is assume a coin is common, just because it looks common. The emotional power of this coin lies in its possibility. The idea that something so small, so ordinary, could quietly hold the potential to transform someone's financial future is what keeps collectors searching. This dime teaches patience. It teaches curiosity. And most importantly, it teaches respect for history. Every scratch, every darkened area, every soft edge tells a story of movement through time and hands. If you ever come across a 1994 P. Roosevelt dime, don't rush to judgment. Don't clean it. Don't sell it cheaply. Hold it. Study it. And remember that fortune doesn't always announce itself with shine and perfection. Sometimes it arrives disguised as a worn, forgotten coin that the world stopped paying attention to. And if this coin surprised you, prepare yourself, because coin number 3 is where the story takes an even more unbelievable turn. Next up, the third and final coin is the one that truly changes how people look at pocket change forever. This is a Roosevelt One Dime from 1997, a coin so underestimated that it quietly passed through millions of hands without a second glance. Minted in the United States of America, this dime carries a familiar face of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Yet behind that familiar design lies a story of overlooked rarity, silent survival, and unbelievable potential. Most people who held this coin never imagined it could be anything more than 10 cents. And that ignorance is exactly what allowed rare examples to disappear into circulation. What makes the 1997 Roosevelt Dime special is a D mint mark. Show it was struck at the Denver Mint. During this period, coin production was fast, relentless, and focused on quantity rather than perfection. Machines ran continuously, dies wore down, and coins were struck and released at a speed that left room for subtle differences to escape notice. Those differences are not loud or obvious. They are quiet, hidden in texture, tone, and strike depth, waiting for the right eyes to recognize them decades later. One of the most shocking truths about the 1997 D. Roosevelt Dime is that condition does not limit its potential. Some of the most talked about examples were not shiny, uncirculated showpieces. They were darkened, worn, and visibly used. Coins that looked tired, scratched, or stained. Coins people would normally throw away or spend without thought. Turned out to be the most interesting. Time changed their surfaces, softened their details, and created unique characteristics that no man could ever replicate again. In the collector world, uniqueness is power. Color plays a mysterious role in this coin story. Certain 1997 D-dimes develop deep gray tones, smoky shadows, or uneven shading that spreads across the surface like a fingerprint. These color changes are not decoration. They are evidence of time, environment, and survival. When a coin's appearance separates it from every other coin of the same year, it attracts attention, and attention creates demand. Demand is what transforms an ordinary coin into a highly sought-after piece. By the late 1990s, the Roosevelt dime design had become invisible to the public. People stopped seeing it. That familiarity worked against the coin at the time, but it works in favor of collectors today. Very few people saved 1997 dimes. Very few examine them closely. That means the number of rare survivors is far smaller than anyone expected. Not because they weren't made, but because no one thought they mattered. History often rewards what society ignores. Stories continue to surface of 1997. D. Roosevelt dimes found in forgotten rolls, old wallets, inherited containers, and long-ignored collections. Coins that sat quietly for years suddenly revealed unexpected traits under careful examination. While not every coin from this year carries extraordinary value, the right example, with the right mint mark clarity, surface character, and aging, can reach levels that shock even experienced collectors. This is why knowledge matters more than luck. This coin represents more than money. It represents patience. It represents awareness. It represents the idea that life-changing opportunities don't always arrive loudly. Sometimes they sit quietly in your pocket, waiting for you to slow down and look closer. The 1997 D. Roosevelt dime reminds us that fortune doesn't care about size, and history doesn't care about face value. So if you ever find a 1997 Roosevelt dime, especially one that looks old, dirty, or unusual, stop. Don't clean it. Don't rush to sell it. Because once a rare coin leaves your hands without understanding its story, its power is gone forever. Coins like this don't promise instant riches, but they offer something far more real: the chance to recognize value before the world does. And with that, our journey to the top 3 most valuable Roosevelt One Dime coins comes to an end. But your journey as a collector, a learner, and a seeker of hidden fortune may be just beginning. See you in the next video.